The story starts where we get to know that the main character is stuck on the same day for his entire life like an endless loop. The time gets resets at the end of the day and the main character is reincarnated back to the same day. At first the main character felt lucky and he started to spend all his money like crazy as he will get back all his money back the next day. But soon he got bored and started venturing in the field of crime, gambling, and things like that as he doesn't have to worry about the consequences as it will be reset the next day. He even gets irritated, so he tries to kill himself to end this loop but fails every time. But, at 7 a.m. on July 7, 2020, when the main character turns 1,000 years old, seems like he was telling his story to a beautiful girl in a nightclub over the bar counter. The girl in response questions him whether he actually made such a story and labels it as an old tactic. The main character assures her and speaks of his skills and also says that he'll wake up tomorrow again in the same loop even if he sleeps with her. The girl is a bit anxious at first as it's her first time meeting such a person and so texts her friend to help her. The main character says that her friend is not going to come and says that her ex-boyfriend had come back to her life and so she is going to stay with her. The cute girl says him to stop lying, to which he replies to wait for the next 9 minutes and 13 seconds, after which she will receive a call. Just then, a rude guy forcefully holds the girl's hand and starts to harass her. The girl tries to let her go of the rude guy's possession but fails, so the main character interferes and asks the rude guy to come over to him. The rude guy questions the main character and quickly throws his cigarette towards the main character, but the main character doesn't even flinch or dodge the cigarette as it was thrown beside him to just scare him off. The rude guy is a bit shocked that the main character didn't even dodge the attack, quickly rushes towards him to land a punch on his face, but the main character quickly dodges the attack and at the same time make uppercut punch at hit jaw and bully gets thrown away in a single punch. And just then, the main boss arrives angrily stating how dare he touch his man and says he'll be a dead man now. The main character asks the bully's boss how did he grow up so fast and questions that whether this is how his elder brother Zhao taught him to be. The bully's boss is completely shocked and asks him how he knows his brother. The main character on the other hand calls the bully boss his elder brother Zhao and tells him that his younger brother was doing some bad stuff in the bar. He even goes on to say that if he doesn't want to start a war in China, then he must do what the main character said in the main meeting. He ends the calls by telling Zhao to keep his people in check else there won't be a second chance as he throws the phone to the bully's boss, who then instantly apologizes for his action. The main character, being in a good mood, says he won't bother them. The beautiful girl is now in utter disbelief and asks herself as to who this person is. Just then the girl receives a call from her friend and her friend apologizes as she cannot come to the bar as her boyfriend came back and she quickly hangs up the phone. The beautiful girl is in disbelief as the main character's words come true. The main character then asks the girl to come with him and takes her to the garage, pointing to a luxurious car which is not his, and he steals the car in front of the girl as he knows that the time will get reset at the end of the day. The girl questions him that he won't leave her home alone, to which the man goes into Sigma mode saying he's not interested into girls who use a ton of makeup to look pretty. The girl gets angry and brings out a wet wipe and uses it over her face to show the main character that she doesn't use makeup, to which she is now rated 9/10 by the main character. The main character offers her to go to her place as he can prove he is not lying and that the bed in his house is pretty big. The girl gets cautious and says that she will call the police if anything happens to her. The next day the main character wakes up saying that he woke up the same day again and that the girl is gone. Just then the girl enters from the bathroom and says that how come the say is not repeating, to which the main character is completely shocked and the girl now demands an explanation to why is it 8th of July. The scene then shifts to a car chase where Wang's men are chasing Wu Chen and the girl, who are running away in Wang's red car. The goons threaten Wu Chen to stop the car or they will kill him with a gun pointing towards them. The girl is terrified, but Wu Chen says it's a fun part as he speeds up in car. Wu Chen dials an unknown number from which a woman replies hello, and Wu Chen refers her as Mrs. Li and informs her that there is a traitor present in her team who can make her lose the bet. Mrs. Li is shocked and asks Wu Chen about how he knows about the bet, to which Wu Chen replies that he has his own sources. Wu Chen says that he can also tell more about her brother, but for that she has to send someone to meet him downstairs in her office within half an hour so that they can talk in person with her. Mrs. Li is curious and demands to who is she speaking to, but Wu Chen is caught up in the chase, being pinned down by both the cars on his side. Wu Chen makes a clean drift which amazes the goons chasing him and they are in awe of his driving skills. Wu Chen quickly makes an escape and arrives at the girl's house. The girl tells Wu Chen that she won't be asking him how he knows her house address as he will repeat his old crappy story, but before leaving, She compliments his driving skills, wants to know from where did he learn it from. Wu Chen, being Wu Chen, replies that he practiced it through his multiple lives, as he also died a lot of times while learning such driving skills, and cautions her not to try it out as she only has one life unlike him. The girl is now irritated and asks him to stop lying and not expect her to call him even if he has her number now. Wu Chen drives away from the girl, and the girl thinks that the night was probably arranged by her friend, as Wu Chen wouldn't be knowing where she lived. She feels confident and thinks she won't let Wu Chen escape from her hands. Half an hour later we are shown a girl named Li Ruobing, who is a star entrepreneur in the Donghai city, but her background is very complicated as she is the sister of Wang, who can easily destroy the whole of East China, and because Li Ruobing is very beautiful, Wu Chen had a deep relationship with her during his lifetime. Wu Chen then arrives in Li Ruobing's office room and she asks the guard to leave and starts to read Wu Chen's entire life summary of his education, his mother, and about her sister Wu Zhao, who goes to a high school. Wu Chen compliments her on finding so much information about him from just his phone number. Li, while tearing his information, mentions that he looks like an ordinary person and an ordinary person cannot know about the bet, and demands to know who Wu Chen really is. Wu Chen replies that he isn't any ordinary and that he knows a lot of things that she cares about, such as the traitor who has been lurking around her. He demands $10 million to reveal the identity of the traitor, making it a fair deal between them. Li Ruobing questions whether she should make a deal with a person who came out of nowhere and a person can be trusted, while she quickly pulls out her gun from her drawer and points it at his head. She demands him to explain everything or she won't let him get out alive. Wu Chen replies that he knows that she will surely shoot him, but then he tosses the bullet cartridge from the gun magazine in his hand. Li Ruobing is completely shocked when she sees her gun's magazine in Wu Chen's hand and wonders how he removed the magazine from her gun as it was under her table. She guesses that it was when he leaned in front of her when he came into her office. Wu Chen says that he is an intelligent businessman and it's just using his intelligence that he removed her gun's magazine. He then asks her to trust his ability to gather information and that he doesn't mean any harm to her but rather wants to earn some money. Wu Chen thinks that the only way he can let Li Ruobing lower her guard is to go around playing the card of earning money for information, and soon he will be able to achieve Li Ruobing. Li Ruobing asks Wu Chen what more does he know, and Wu Chen starts with her entire biography, that she is the eldest daughter of the Li family, but because she was treated differently as a girl, she wanted to fight and prove everyone that she can be stronger than men, but still she could not escape her brother's shadow. Her mother always helped her, but after their parents' divorce, she started to date other men and became a pain, so she is being forced to marry Ding Ruolong. She wanted to run away from getting married, but she couldn't as she worried about her mother. So, she tried to get Ding Ruolong die from her 3 fake boyfriends, but they all ended up failing. Her first fake boyfriend committed suicide, second one sent to a mental hospital, and the third was framed and imprisoned. All this was done by Ding Ruolong as he is a careful person and wants to make sure that no other man ever comes close to her. In order to escape the fate of marriage, she made a secret bet with Ding Ruolong as to whoever has a bigger business after 5 years wins the bet. What she doesn't know is that Ding Ruolong took someone from her side and made him to spy on her, and on the launch day, that spy will ruin everything for her, and having a relationship in life will make it very interesting. Li, pointing a gun at his forehead, admits that he is very special. He is courageous and bold, but he is very young and it would be a pity as he could die, and asks him isn't he afraid of this. Wu Chen says that if she really wanted to kill someone, she would have called someone in by that time and that there is nothing to be afraid of. Li Ruobing is impressed by Wu Chen and says that couples should have an intimate photo and goes on to click photos with Wu Chen. With this she can confirm Wu Chen's identity by sending a photo of them as a couple to Ding Ruolong and at the same time also irritate and offend Ding Ruolong. From that day onwards, Wu Chen is her boyfriend and she asks him to become her personal assistant and that she will get someone to fill the position later, and wants to know what happened to her brother. Wu Chen tells that the top 3 clubs of China run by her brother, the East China Sea Crown, the Central China Regal and the South China Sea Plaza, which everyone knows. But the East China Sea Crown has done something beyond their boundary which involves many top celebrities, rich people and officials, and an investigation has begun 3 months ago in this matter. Wu Chen mentions that according to what he knows is that their network will be closed in another month at the most. Li Ruobing is shocked, and Wu Chen tells that it is not only her brother's problem but also troublesome for the entire Li family. Once the investigation is done, her brother will not only be sent to prison, but the Li family can abandon her brother. Li Ruobing tries to confirm it in a serious manner and asks for a surety regarding the information. The scene then shifts to the East China Sea Crown Entertainment Club where the goons are explaining of what happened during the car chase. Wang Zhuangyuan, who was Li Ruotai's right-hand man, is furious that a person had stolen their car, injured their man and even used their Li surname and questions whether the person wishes to live any longer or not. Zhao Guzai, Li Ruotai's left-hand man, says that it's strange that someone would have his phone number and know about the May rally. Whereas Li Ruotai, the eldest grandson of the Li family, wants to meet the person himself so that he can kill that person with his own bare hands. Just then Li Ruobing enters the room and everyone is startled by her sudden appearance. Her brother Li Ruotai tells his subordinates to put out the submergely as he fears and respects his sister very much and asks Li Ruobing whether there is any urgent matter as she came in person to meet him. Li Ruobing says that she has to introduce someone to him. Wu Chen then says that he borrowed his car yesterday to play and so he tosses over the car keys to him and says that the car in the underground parking has a lot of fantasy fashion. Just then the goon who chased Wu Chen yesterday shouts that this is the same person who used the Li surname yesterday. We can see that Ruotai, who the eldest grandson of the Li family, is actually the most favored and is able to use most of the family's power, so, compared to Li Ruobing, he is really strong and his strength is also not weaker than Ding Ruolong. Li Ruobing on the other hand grew up tough since she was a child as she spared no effort whether it was to protect her brother or to beat him up, which also led Li Ruotai to respect and fear his sister. Ruotai was just going to speak about Wu Chen but Li Ruobing immediately pulled his ears and said him that Wu Chen is his brother-in-law. Everyone was shocked at this revelation, but Li Ruotai didn't believe it as she could be playing the fake boyfriend trick again and felt that Wu Chen is also an ordinary person. He asks her of a reason to be with Wu Chen. Li Ruobing starts acting up and says that she is not feeling well lately and leans on Wu Chen's chest and says Wu Chen that it's all his fault. Wu Chen asks her that, isn't she going too far with her drama, and says that he isn't afraid of Ding Ruolong. But, Li Ruobing's brother is completely stunned seeing Wu Chen and her sister so close to each other like a couple. Li Ruobing's brother, Li Ruotai, the eldest son in the Li family, is completely shocked seeing his sister Li Ruobing and the young man Wu Chen so close. Seeing them so close, he thinks as to whether his sister Li Ruobing pregnant with Wu Chen being the child's father. Li Ruotai, seeing his sister and Wu Chen so close, thinks that Wu Chen is just an average guy in terms of his looks. Neither the most handsome man nor a bad-looking man. So, he gets suspicious as to why is his sister going out with an average young man like Wu Chen who was in his early 20s, whereas her taste is clearly in men older than her age. Li Ruotai gets concerned for her sister, thinking that maybe Wu Chen is deceiving his sister and wants to use her by making her fall in love. As, according to him, love can sometimes make people completely blind and make them so crazy that then think nothing except love. Li Ruotai, being concerned, is now desperate to save his sister from the young man Wu Chen. So, he questions them on when did the two of them meet. Wu Chen replies that they both met 3 months ago when his sister was recruiting interns at a university, which amazes Li Ruobing as even though she did recruit interns at a university, she wonders as to how does Wu Chen know about it. Li Ruotai tries to bring some sense into his sister's mind, telling that she has only known Wu Chen for only 3 months and reasons that in such a short amount of time how she could know everything about Wu Chen to make him her boyfriend. Li Ruotai now questions Wu Chen about his men, informing him about Wu Chen being with another girl in the Lotus Bar the day before. Li Ruobing is shocked that Wu Chen was with another girl, but Wu Chen clarifies it to clear any misunderstand that the woman he was in the club the previous night was Mu Chanqian, who was the daughter of Mu Sihai, and they are the owners of the East China Senior Biomedical Group. Wu Chen says that Li Ruotai should in fact thank him as if he had not intervened and saved the girl last night in the club from Lu Huzhai and his men for trying to bully and harass her. The girl would have become a huge problem for everyone that no one including Li Ruotai could stop. We get to know that the East China Senior Group is the leading biomedical group in the region in Mu Sihai. The girl's father is worth billions of dollars, who is also the deputy to the National People's Congress with a lot of contacts within the party. Wu Chen tells him that if in case they had a war against the Mu group, even if the Li family won, they still would have to pay a huge price at the event. Li Ruotai realizes the grave danger he was saved from, thanks Wu Chen for the help. Li Ruobing is impressed with Wu Chen as he could subdue her brother, who was a person who was not even afraid of anyone with just a few words. She then stops the matter and tells them that she came for something important to discuss with them. She tells Li Ruotai that someone from the higher up wants to move the Crown Club's control from the Li family, which makes everyone present in the room shocked at what she said. Li Ruotai himself is very shocked at this revelation and tries to deny it, telling her that he himself had taken care of everything in that matter and he would have known about the matter the very instant if it was the case. Wu Chen corrects him, stating that he should not have blackmailed the people with the video he had taken and should have cut all his business relations with Xie Hu a long time ago. Li Ruobing is very furious on her brother, as even after advising him multiple times that Xie Hu is not a good person, he is still in touch with Xie Hu and is working with him. Li Ruotai tries to calm his sister and tells her that he could explain everything to her, but Wu Chen tells him that his sister Li Ruobing is correct in this regard, as Xie Hu is not a good person and that Xie Hu has sold him out this time to the higher authorities. He tells that Xie Hu will put all the blame onto Li Ruotai and frame him, stating it as Li Ruotai's idea. Li Ruotai is startled, as even his sister is unaware of his business with Xie Hu and demands Wu Chen to tell him about who told him about his business with Su Hu. Wu Chen shrugs it off and tells that he is only there for his sister Li Ruobing and not for him, so he doesn't have to clarify about anything to him, and he will only help him because he is Li Ruobing's brother, and if something happens to her brother, she will get very sad. Li Ruotai gets very angry over Wu Chen's statements and threatens that Wu Chen won't be able to walk out alive of the club if he doesn't explain him about how he knew about Xie Hu and his business. Li Ruobing tries to calm down her brother, but Li Ruotai tells her that he doesn't care if Wu Chen lied to her, but he won't believe in any of Wu Chen's words, as he seems like a liar who cannot even speak his words clearly. Wu Chen starts to explain that only a few people in China know about the matter. It is only 4 months ago that a person who was parachuted into the East China Sea Police Department named Liao Bo came across to handle the Crown Entertainment case. Some investigators have disguised themselves as guests to go undercover, while other investigators lurked into the clubhouse and so have collected a lot of evidences against them. He then writes some names on a piece of paper, informing Ruotai that it is the list of all the undercover agents regarding the case, and hands it over to him. Li Ruotai reads the names and immediately orders his men to buckle up and investigate all the men present in the list, and he also warns Wu Chen that it will be Wu Chen's fault if the names in the list he gave are wrong. Wu Chen calmly goes and sits down at the sofa, demanding Li Ruotai of the amount of money they are willing to spend to know the entire information regarding the matter. A little later we see Li Ruotai checking a camera in his hand, where he is seen very frustrated as he orders his men to capture all the people in the list at that very moment. Li Ruotai is in utter disbelief, and he cannot digest the fact that there are so many spies in his club. Wu Chen cautions them as the spies cannot be captured, and that even if one of the spies goes missing, the cops will start acting up, as the cops have collected enough evidence against the casino-related things, and so, Li Ruotai asks Wu Chen for a solution in this regard. Wu Chen asks him whether he wants to proceed the old way, looking for getting jailed, or whether he wants to get out of the mess safely. Upon further insisting by Li Ruolong, Wu Chen tells him not to send any of his men anywhere and also apologize to him so that he can fix up everything for him. Wu Chen thinks that maybe he should show some respect to Li Ruotai, as now he has become the part of their family. Li Ruobing tells Wu Chen to help her brother, as they are a family. Wu Chen tells that her brother doesn't consider him as his family. Li Ruotai has no other option. So, he accepts it, saying that Wu Chen sees him in the wrong way, and as he sees Wu Chen as a part of his own family. Wu Chen giggles out, and we see Li Ruotai apologizing to Wu Chen, saying that he thought that Wu Chen was cheating his sister and so was a bit hesitant. Wu Chen tells that he isn't cheating on his sister, and tells that just for the sake of his sister, he is going to give him an idea. Wu Chen tells, firstly, Li Ruotai has to kill Xie Hu, as Su Hu knows a lot of things and their plan can get ruined if he speaks up. He tells Xie Hu often goes to Villa number 17 in the Lotus Pond Manor to do druess with his mistress. So, if Xie Hu dies of an overdose, Li Ruotai won't be suspected of Xie Hu's death. Li Ruobing is all cheered up and mentions it as a great idea. Wu Chen continues with the second step, which is to destroy the evidence which is in Liao Biao's hand. For which he just has to get the evidence and destroy it. Ruotai tells he will get Liao Biao, and Wu Chen asks as whether he's crazy because Liao Biao is too big of a person to be taken down. He explains that in a locality called Willow Street, in the 2nd Avenue's Unit 3, there is room number 501. Within that room, under the master bedroom closet, is a hidden safe. The password to the safe is 571564, and the evidence is inside that safe. He further tells that since the investigation was a top-secret mission, they have only one main file in order to prevent leaks. So, if they destroy that evidence, they will be good to go. Ruotai is started at such a detailed information that too with the password to the safe. Wu Chen mentions the third step to tell the head of the family about this matter, and most importantly, his business with Xie Hu with utmost clarity, as they are talking about the Wei family now. We get to know that Li family and the Wei family had been hostile for many years, with both sides being in a full-scale war for once. This also led many people from both the sides to get prisoned. This is also the reason why the Li family wanted to get Li Ruobing to get married into the Ding family in order to join forces with them, as the Wei family has an upper hand over the Li family. He tells them to let the Wei family seize the opportunity, as they would take advantage to fight with the Li family and to overcome the troubles the head of the family must know about it. Ruotai unwillingly accepts to Wu Chen, but Wu Chen isn't finished yet and continues his final move. He tells to set fire to the Crown Club. A little fire that can make it to the news so that he can justify shutting down the club for redecorating without getting suspected. Wu Chen guarantees that Li Ruotai will be safe if he does all the 4 things he mentioned. Li Ruobing grabs her brother's ears and asks him whether he understood what her boyfriend said or not. Li Ruotai tells her to stop, as he has understood everything and will do what Wu Chen said to him. Suddenly, Li Ruotai's phone rings, and upon attending the call, he is shocked as his dealer has lost over 2 billion to a customer in the casino. Li Ruotai tries to take a leave from Wu Chen and his sister to go to the casino urgently, but Wu Chen questions him whether it is Shin Gangzhen who was the owner of the Fushan Aluminum. We then see Wu Chen telling about Shin Gangzhen that Shin had arrived in the East China Sea the day before and had purposely cleared all the gambling experts from the city of Macau so that he could take revenge of his previous shame. He tells that they are screwed. His status doesn't matter in the casino, since Ruotai's and Sav, whose business relied on people to cheat people in the gambling game. The casino works like that, on letting people win at first and latter make the player lose everything. Shin Gangzhen had also lost several hundred millions in the casino, leading financial trouble in his company. So, in order to solve the issue, he raised money from other people and got to know that other people had also lost a lot of money like him. So, he went to the Wei family for the help, and when Wei family did their investigation, they found out the secretly filmed tape, and the Wei family seized the opportunity with others to bring down the Li family. Wu Chen informs that under normal conditions, Shin would have not dared to challenge them by bringing a gambling expert to the casino, but he isn't afraid, as he knows that Li Ruotai is finished with the issues he is facing. Li Ruotai is furious on Shin Gangzhen, threatening to take revenge on him sooner or later. We are then shown Shin and his expert playing at a table, and they again defeat a player in the game. Shin seems to be enjoying the game and getting richer at the same time. Ruotai and team arrives congratulating Shin on having a good hand during the games. Shin tauntingly asks that Mr. Li won't mind since he has won a lot of money, but Ruotai shrugs it off, labeling it as very little money and he can afford to lose that. Shin mockingly tries to tell Ruotai that the experts in the Crown Club couldn't win against him, and it seems that he has brought a little talent under him to defeat him. Wu Chen denies it and asks whether he would like to play a few games with him as well. Shin laughs it off, mentioning whether Mr. Li is trying to be modest by sending a youngster to play against him in the game. He adds, saying how embarrassing it is for the Li family to keep going on even after losing 200 million against him. Ruotai asks Li Ruobing whether Wu Chen is skilled in gambling as well, but she denies knowing about his skills. We get to know that gambling masters are good at guessing the psychology of their opponents through minimal expressions and their movements. It requires a great amount of experience in the game which young people cannot possess. Shin's expert feels that he can accurately guess Wu Chen's card by just looking at his expressions. Ruobing tries to confirm from Wu Chen if he wishes to gamble, and Wu Chen without any hesitation tells her that he can defeat any casino in the world. The game begins and we see Shin's expert noticing Wu Chen not looking at the concealed cards. Wu Chen bets for 500,000 and the expert seems to call the same. We see this happening through multiple rounds and we see Wu Chen winning the rounds. Ruotai takes no time mocking back Shin, for the expert he hired seems to be running out of his luck. Shin is trying crazily as he tries to lure Li into his trap. It is seen that Shin and his expert intentionally lose a few games in the beginning to observe the opponent's habit and analyze their opponent's way of thinking, and then incentivize them, finally taking it all back from the opponent. Shin knows that since Li Ruotai has lost more than 200 million already, they will not refuse to continue playing to recover their losses, and they will certainly add more chips from the casino side to Wu Chen to win the game. It is round 30 now and the dealer requests to place their bets, and Wu Chen goes for 1 million this time without looking at his cards. Wu Chen goes in for another million and the expert goes all in since he thinks that Wu Chen has a very bad hand and he has a pair of kings. It's almost a win for the expert. Ruotai sees that Wu Chen has a better probability to win but is unsure since the final card is not yet revealed. Wu Qin goes all in, but the expert wishes to add another 100 million as there is very little money on the table. Wu Qin, being confident, raises it to 200 million instead. Ruotai hints the employees to bring the chips to the table and Wu Chen raises the bet by 100 million. The expert observes that Wu Chen's finger position seems that the card is a very important one. Therefore, that card can be an ace, which can make the expert lose. So, he folds his bet, trying to mock Wu Chen for not listening to his advice. Ruobing tries to guess whether it is an ace, but Wu Chen denies it, revealing it as the two of hearts. The expert is very furious as Wu Chen had tricked him, but Wu Chen denies it, saying the expert didn't keep up with the bet. The expert has grasped another one of Wu Chen's tactics in the meanwhile, and we see round 31 in play. The expert's bottom card is a 9 of diamond, and since both their hands have the same value of cards, unless Wu Chen's bottom card is a 9 of spades, there is not way Wu Chen could beat the expert. But, since the probability of all 4 nines coming out in one game is very low and Wu Chen doesn't often looks at his bottom card, the expert seems very confident in winning the round. He proposes it to be the round to determine the winner and bets 200 million, going all in. Wu Chen seems unmoved and bets the same. We see everyone getting tensed over the table due to the sheer amount of the bet on the table. Li Ruobing questions whether going all in for 200 million is a bit risky, and her brother consoles her, saying that since Wu Chen has been lucky so far, he sees no problem at the moment. The expert also goes all in and advises Wu Chen that the most important thing while gambling is to not lose his mind. Because if he cannot control his mind, he won't be able to go too far. He confidently plays his card and mocking asks whether Wu Chen considers himself as the moves with the knife towards the expert, grabbing the expert's playing hand, and just then the ace of black card falls from within the sleeve of his shirt. He tells the expert that Wu Chen had already noticed that the expert had hid a card up his sleeves when he requested for a card check before the 15th game, and he didn't want to expose him then because he hadn't won then. Ruotai is furious on the expert as he dared to cheat in front of him and asks Shen for an explanation. Before the expert could speak, Wu Chen pins the expert on the table with force and stabs his playing hand with the knife, mentioning him to suffer the consequences of his actions. The expert is seen in immense pain holding his wounded hand, but Wu Chen is unmoved and asks Shen about it. Shen says that he didn't order the expert to cheat and tells the incident has nothing to do with him. Wu Chen informs that he will head out to take some rest and cautions Ruotai to not take any step within the clubhouse. Li Ruobing is very happy as she asks how Wu Chen feels after stabbing the expert's hand. Wu Chen denies liking it, stating that it will feel the pain as when one stabbing their own hand. Li Ruobing thinks of what a monster Wu Chen is, that even after stabbing someone, he is still so calm, and whether he could even kill someone if that were to be the case. We see Wu Chen and Li Ruobing traveling in a car where Miss Li is praising Wu Chen for being so good in cards. But Wu Chen, being Wu Chen, reminds her not to forget to pay him money. Wu Chen observes something and looks outside the car window. When Ruobing asks, he tells her that a car is following them. Soon, she is informed the same by her driver. Li Ruobing tells the driver to get rid of the followers, as it must be Ding Ruolong's men who sends people to follow her everywhere. Wu Chen knows that it wasn't Ding Ruolong and their target was not her but Wu Chen himself. He lays his hand onto hers and comforts her by telling that she need not worry as he would take care of everything. Miss Li thinks that Wu Chen is using this as an opportunity to hit on her, but also is impressed as it was a very good move as well. She tells him maybe Wu Chen is hungry and she would give him something good for his help during the day. We see them sitting in a restaurant checking out the menu, whereas Wu Chen is concerned that people might think of him as their competitor, but she denies, telling she wants others to know more about him. We see a gentleman greeting Miss Li, who is Mr. Han Deli, the chairman of the Longqing Innovation Group. She tells him that she is there to eat with her boyfriend, as her boyfriend wanted to eat Cantonese food and so she brought him here. Mr. Han introduces himself to Wu Chen and compliments him, saying that he is a good-looking man, so is the perfect match for Miss Li. Wu Chen thanks him for his compliments and Mr. Han apologizes to interrupt their date, taking a quick leave, informing that his client has arrived. Ruobing tells that Han Deli is a nice guy and like to make new friends. In addition to it, he is an officer of the East China Sea Chamber of Commerce, but Wu Chen tells her he doesn't need her instructions as he knows him better than her. He tells that it seems many people do not want to be friends with her, and she confirms it because she has a lot of rivals, especially women who envy her a lot. We see a girl who accidentally meets Ruobing in the restaurant and questions her about when did she start to have a boyfriend. She is Lu Keishu, formerly known as Lu Lijuan. She is 32 years old and is from the Lijuan village from the Irma County in Donghai City. She is married since 7 years with Lu Ganian, who is the chairman of the Danghai Julie Group and even has a son since then. With the help of her husband, she set up her own business Youngshu Fatayan Company and is a competitor to Li Ruobing's company. Lu Keishu mocks Li Ruobing that since she is 27 years old, the young man in the 20s with whom she seems like an old cow eating a young grass. Ruobing tries to defuse the situation by considering it as a joke and tells her to stop with her act. Lu Keishu asks whether she still cares to what other people say, and Ruobing gets very angry, telling her to stop and was going to just throw her coffee, but Wu Chen stops her by grabbing her hand, telling to chill for a moment as he will solve it for her. He walks near to the women and tries to analyze her making faces. The girl is irritated and asks as to why is he looking her like that. Wu Chen tells her that it's nothing but Tat, he has seen her before somewhere. Wu Chen tells that he remembers it, asking her whether she worked in a nightclub before. Lu Keishu is very furious and slams the table with her right hand. In complete anger, she emphasizes the word nightclub and tries to belittle Wu Chen, saying his whole family would have worked in nightclubs. She asks how dare Wu Chen slander her by referring her to working at a nightclub, and does he know who she is. Wu Chen mocks her, asking whether she is accusing him of slandering her and whether she knows that her past cannot be erased by putting on a facelift. Lu Keishu is taken aback by how Wu Chen knows about her been worked in nightclubs and also that she had plastic surgery, as it was 10 years ago and no one should be knowing about it. Li Ruobing enters the chat and praises Wu Chen for even having such in-depth information about her and that his intelligence network is better than what she had thought about. Wu Chen tells her that it is too early to admire him as the best part is yet to come. We see Lu Ganian, who is the chairman of the Donghai Julie Group and the vice president of the Donghai Chamber, walking towards them and asking Keishu about the matter. She hurriedly walks towards her husband and tells him that Wu Chen has insulted her and said her that she worked in a nightclub. She asks him to take revenge on Wu Chen for insulting her. Lu Ganian asks Li Ruobing about who was the guy with her. Ruobing tells her that he is her boyfriend named Wu Chen. Ganian tells Wu Chen that since Ganian is a respected person in Donghai and since he has humiliated his wife, it is equal to slapping Ganian's face, and so the matter cannot be solved with just a few words. Wu Chen tells him that there is someone who can solve the matter for him. Lu Ganian questions him whether he thinks that Ganian won't do anything just because he is with Li Ruobing. Wu Chen tells that he is not talking about Li Ruobing but is talking about Ma Huifeng. Lu Ganian is completely terrified hearing the name from Wu Chen and asks him if he knows her. Li Ruobing wonders as to what's with Ganian's terrified reaction to Wu Chen's reply. In the meanwhile, Wu Chen requests Mr. Lu to have a small talk with him for a minute in a corner. Mr. Lu accompanies Wu Chen and Wu Chen tells him that he has 2 stories to tell to him. He tells that the main character of the first story is her wife. It is that 10 years ago, she was encouraged by her then husband to enter a nightclub to make quick money for herself. During this time, she met a very wealthy customer in the nightclub. The customer had started a demolition business, and when the person was young, he had a dispute with someone. When the person was released from the hospital, he got to know that it will be difficult for him to have children in the future. The person wasn't able to have children since then, and even vitro fertilization was unsuccessful in his case. The doctor had said about this when the person was drunk, and when Lu Lijuan got to know about it, she started with her evil plan. She got her facelift and changed her name to Lu Keishu, and with the help of her then husband, she became the person's wife. 3 months later, she got pregnant, and a baby boy was successfully born. Of course, it wasn't the client's child but the child of Lu Keishu and her then husband. She knew that Ganian could ask for the paternity test, so she bribed a hefty amount to the doctor to lie about it. Wu Chen tells Mr. Lu that even Mr. Lu would have known that the child does not look like him and that he is just trying to deny the reality because he is eager to have a child. The final part of their plan was to get him to die in an accident and inherit the billions of dollars he had in his possessions. Lu Ganian is surprised but denies that he cannot believe the mere words that Wu Chen spoke. Wu Chen tells that his wife's cousin is in his company and that the cousin is her concubine in reality. He warns Mr. Lu that the 2 of them together are still cheating on him. He explains that Lu Keishu went out with her lover the day before in the afternoon to have an affair. She deliberately took the stairs to avoid the people. He hints to Mr. Lu to check the surveillance cameras to check it himself. Or, he can ask his wife about it, but, to know the truth, he would have to swindle about the matter a bit. Mr. Lu goes towards his wife and asks whether she was with her cousin at the office the day before or not. She replies affirmatively and tells that she was in the office until the end of the day. Mr. Lu tells that his cousin told him that they both went outside to talk to a client and were not in the office. Lu Keishu says that maybe her cousin said it by mistake. Mr. Lu instead tells her that he should rather call her cousin to know about it instead. But Lu Keishu hurriedly stops Mr. Lu from calling her cousin and tells that she remembers that they did go out in the afternoon to talk to a client, but they came back around 2 or 3 and were there in the office the rest of the day discussing about the promotions. She questions why is he asking her such questions all of a sudden while the young boy is scolding her and whether he loves her and his son or not. Lu Gonian is angry at her and slaps her on her cheeks, telling her to shut up as he has discovered the scandal between her and her cousin. Lu Gonian is in a rage as he orders Lu Keishu to leave immediately as he will talk to her later. He apologizes to Wu Chen and Ruobing about the incident, and Wu Chen and Li Ruobing both assure Mr. Lu that they won't tell anyone about the matter. Mr. Lu tells that he just wanted to have a child and didn't know that he would be used like that for it. Mr. Lu seems to have lost all hope as he accepts his fate of being unable to have a child, but Wu Chen denies it, informing him that Mr. Lu has a very good son. Mr. Lu is shocked on hearing about it as Wu Chen tells Mr. Lu that he still has the second story left. There was a couple who were childhood friends and one day they fell in love with each other. Both of them thought that now they can spend their lives together living happily. The man soon became wealthy and because of that eventually cheated on her partner. He ran away with his new lover with all his money, unknown to the fact that his wife was pregnant. His ex-wife later gave birth to a boy and she even had to cut off from her parents from getting ashamed of having a child from their relationship. The woman was treated like an untouchable, but she still raised her child facing all the difficulties on her own. It is out of her hatred that she told her child that his father is dead. Her son has a successful career and started his own family of 4, living happily. Wu Chen tells that he can indeed have children and also has a granddaughter. Mr. Lu is delighted and wants to know the name of his son, and Wu Chen tells him that his son is named Ma Jiawei after his mother's name. Mr. Lu is concerned as his wife didn't marry any other women and gets to know that his wife doesn't trust men anymore after what happened to her. Wu Chen tells that she lives in Donghai and must have come to know that he became rich. But she never looked at him because it hurts her too much to see him. We see Wu Chen getting something out of his shirt pocket and he brings out a piece of paper informing that his wife's address is in the paper, and it is all upon Mr. Lu to find out whether she has forgiven him or not. Mr. Lu gladly accepts the paper and tells Wu Chen that if he can get back with his wife, he will owe a favor to Wu Chen. Ruobing is impressed as she tells that Mr. Lu now owes him a favor, and he replies stating that it's a good thing as Mr. Lu can be useful in the future. We are then seen Wu Chen leaving the car at night, telling Ruobing that he will see her the next day. But she calls out to Wu Chen to come back to her as she has something to tell him. Wu Chen goes to the car window and asks about it as she grabs his shirt, pulling him over for a kiss. She tells him that Ding Ruolong likes to send over people to spy on her, so she wants to bully them. Wu Chen, being a Sigma, leaving everything aside, asks whether it is her first kiss as he tells her that her technique is very brutish, making his mouth hurt, and leaves shortly after. We are then shown an apartment during the night where 2 women are talking to each other. These 2 girls are Lily and Mu Qian Shen, the girl at the bar. She tells her friend Lily that she is hungry and they should go eat something, but her friend denies, telling her that they need to wait for the young boy she met. Mu Qian Shen tells her friend that she wanted to do what she did that day, which makes her friend furious at her as she got brainwashed by a young man and she can't let that guy off so easily. Mu Qian Shen asks whether it was she who told about her to Wu Qian and how did he know so much about her. Her friend is very furious, letting her know that she didn't tell anything to Wu Qian and that the most important thing right now is to beat up that pervert. Mu Qian Shen regrets asking about Wu Qian from her friend as she just wanted to know about Wu Qian and didn't expect her friend's reaction to being like this. We then see Wu Qian entering the corridor where Mu Qian Shen and her friend are talking. Mu Qian Shen tells her friend that he is Wu Qian and Wu Qian tells them that he is there. Her friend Lily boldly asks Wu Qian, how could he cheat on Mu Qian Shen and that he is a horrible person? Wu Qian in return asks how come she has so much courage to come at him so boldly if she knew Wu Qian was such a bad guy. As he goes into his pocket trying to get something, her friend gets cautious and warns Wu Qian to stay away. But Wu Qian just pulls out his door keys and tells that he has to open his door. Lily is agitated as Wu Qian ignored her and she was just going to tase Wu Qian, but Wu Qian calls out to her not to attempt anything on him. While opening his door, he tells her that Hu Xiaowei is cheating on her. He tells that when Hu Xiaowei went back to Donghai 4 days ago, he first went to see his lover who lives in Unit 201 on 19th Fuyan Road, and after that went to coffee tea with his friends for a few days. Since he ran out of money yesterday, he came back to her. Lily questions as to whether it is true, trying to show she does not believe it. Wu Qian tells her to check it herself by calling him and trying to get the information by other means. Lily, being arrogant, tells that she knows men better than him and she will call her boyfriend immediately and prove him wrong. Lily calls her boyfriend and asks about his whereabouts, telling him that there is $10,000 in his room drawer. He tells her that he is home, and when he gets to know of the money, he tells her that he is unaware of the money and will about it in half an hour to her. Lily rushes in anger as she now knows that her boyfriend is cheating upon her as he is not back home and she will beat him to death. Mu Qian tells her to wait for her as she also wants to join her, but Wu Qian grabs Mu Qian by her waist and lifts her with both his hands and asks her that since she is here, doesn't she want to come into the house? Mu Qian asks Wu Qian, why did he pick her up, and Wu Qian goes smoothly telling a princess shouldn't get tired, referring to her. She yells at him to put her down as she can walk by herself, but Wu Qian continues to walk, lifting her as she continuously yells at him to put her down. The scene shifts to the next day morning, where we see Wu Qian getting up and sitting on his bed and taking a quick stretch, noticing Mu Qian still sleeping on the bed. He asks why is she still sleeping as it is morning. She shouts at him, telling him that she didn't get enough sleep because of him and she needs to have her beauty sleep. A paper ball flies over to her side, thrown by Wu Qian, who tells her that it is his phone number. She can call him if she wants to meet him and doesn't have to just wait outside the house for him to return. She is happy and tells him that it's all the same that is waiting for him to return. We see a masked man in a car following Wu Qian as he gets out of the apartment. Wu Qian notices the guy and then calls someone using his phone. He asks the person on the phone whether he sent someone to follow him for the day and whether he is still not done. He tells that he is going for training and to visit him on the training grounds to find him. Sometime later we see Wu Qian training. He had mastered the fighting techniques in the past 1,000 years, but his physical fitness isn't good enough and he has to train even more as he has offended Ding Rulong and doesn't know what kind of troubles he will face in the future. We see Wang Zhuanyuan, who is Li Ruotai's right-hand man, coming up to visit Wu Qian. Wu Qian notices Wang coming up to visit him. We get to know that before, Wang was just a second rate. But because he and Li Tai climbed the ranks of connections, he gained power and was able to expand his influence. In just a few years, Wang became one of the 4 bosses and the youngest to become one. The 4 bosses control 90% of the entertainment industry in the East China Sea and are even involved in businesses such as quarry and logistics. Wang nervously tells Wu Qian that he has something to explain to him and that Wu Qian misunderstood him. The person he sent to follow him was to ensure their safety and not for ill intention. Wu Qian tells that Li Ruotai probably doesn't know about Wang sending men to follow him in Ruobing. And since Ruotai is very protective of his sister, if he gets to know about Wang following them, Wang will get screwed. Wang is sweating heavily, unable to gulp down, realizing what Wu Qian meant. Wu Qian comforts him, telling him to relax, and if he really wanted to tell Ruotai about Wang, he would have not called Wang. Wang asks Wu Qian what he wants in return. Wu Qian calmly tells that he wants to be friends with him, since he has a lot of subordinates. So, if he is short on manpower, he will ask for his help. Wang is relieved and assures him that he would definitely help him, and Wu Qian doesn't have to hesitate to ask for help in the future. Wu Qian thinks that even though he has a lot of information since he is short on manpower, things will get a lot easier now with Wang's help. Wu Qian gets a phone call from Li Ruobing. When Wu Qian answers the phone, she asks him to come to her quickly as something has happened in the company. Wang hands over his car keys to Wu Qian, informing him that he has extra pair of clothes as well to change. And if Wu Qian doesn't mind, he would give this as an apology and Wu Qian can use it as his transport in the future. Wu Qian accepts it happily, saying it since Wang doesn't mind giving the car to him. We are shown the office, where everyone is worried, trying to contact every other person. Wu Qian enters Ruobing's office, where she is talking over the phone asking for someone's health and whether that person can attend the press conference or not, and then hangs up after confirming the situation. Wu Qian asks her about the matter and whether something happened. Ruobing informs that their product spokesman, who is a new generation female singer, Deng Zunya, has met with a car accident. Wu Qin tells that he helped her yesterday find the traitor, and since Ding Rulong found out that they could not steal the information, it seems that they got Miss Deng into an accident so that she could not speak for the new product of the symphony fashion, and this obviously is not a coincidence. Ruobing is sad that Ding Rulong did such a thing, and he even violated the rules of their bet and even used his family's influence. Wu Qian on the other hand asks whether she wants him to help her find a new spokesperson. She asks that she does need a spokesperson and whether did he find someone for the job? Wu Qian asks whether a national first-class movie star with the Golden Horse Award, the Golden Image Award, and the Golden Rooster 100 Flowers Film Prize, Tao Menying, qualified for the position. Ruobing mocks him, saying that such a popular movie star would never even meet them, let alone be their product spokesperson. She knows that he is trying to help, but he shouldn't bluff her like this. Wu Qian places a bet on the same since she doesn't believe him. A bet whether he can get Tao Menying to show up in their office tomorrow morning to sign a contract with them. We get to know that Tao Menying is a popular first-class actress who was also the first one to enter the ranks of international film stars by sweeping the awards of every major film festival with her major production, The Sword and Autumn Water. She has been receiving many endorsements since then, becoming one of the highest-paid actresses in China. Ruobing questions him whether he is saying that he would sign a contract with Tao Menying the next morning and whether he is joking, as she is now filming abroad and has multiple makeup endorsements to do, so it isn't possible. Wu Qian is adamant, telling her to bet on if she doesn't believe him, and she readily accepts to make him leave her alone. Wu Qian wants to tell that if he fails to get the contract signed by the next morning, he would pay her $20 million. But, if he wins, $20 million will be very less for the endorsement he will get her, and she can't be jealous if he wins. Ruobing wants to know why would she be jealous, as they are just pretending to be a couple and she is not in love with him. She tells him to find whoever he likes, as she has no right or interest in interfering in his life. Wu Qian seals the deal for the bet, going to take a leave, but then tells her to put $20 million in his account, hinting that he has already won, making Ruobing very irritated. Wu Qian comes out of the office calling someone and asking for a favor. We see Wu Qian and Wang walking into a gaming cafe. Wang informs him that all of the men are his brothers who are good at gaming and asks what he wishes to do. Wu Qian tells everyone to turn on their PCs and play the legendary City Lords, mentioning a specific version. He instructs him to get all the players registered and go to the third area that opened at 5 o'clock the day before yesterday and use a specific name. We see a panel asking for the name, then he tells everyone to wait in the new player area and recharges his ID with $10 million. He recharges it to build a clan, waiting for someone to arrive. 4 hours later, we see them playing the same game. The players are all hyped up as they have never played with an account with hundreds of thousands of credits in their game ID. They have defeated multiple monsters and cleared multiple levels. Wang tells that their clan has suppressed the biggest clan in the server and now has become the biggest clan, which has cost them more than 8 million for the levels and equipment. Wu Qian tells him that there are no more casual players on the server and other small clans have quit the game, and all that remains on the server is the Dragon Slaughter clan. He tells Wang that it is time to activate the second step of his plan. We see a message popping up informing every player that the King of Hegemon has started the battle against the Dragon Slaughter, telling everyone to gather at the main city square. We see everyone fighting in the main city square. Wu Qian tells them to gather at the Chiku Square and prepare for the battle with the Dragon Clan. Another person from the Dragon Clan compliments Wu Qian for making so much fortune in the game, telling that maybe Wu Qian is a die-hard fan of the game. The person tells that it is still not clear who will win since both clans have similar power. Wu Qian on the other hand tells that the winner will be decided very soon, making. The person asks Wu Qian about how he plans to win, but Wu Qian denies it, stating that the Dragon Clan will win, making the person shocked. Wu Qian orders everyone from his clan to listen to his order and remove their equipment and get off the game. We see everyone getting off the game, which makes the person shocked as he begs like a little kid to Wu Qian to play more with his clan, as it is very difficult for them to find an opponent like Wu Qian. He tells that Wu Qian has spent $9 million in the game, and if he quits right now, he would not be able to become the boss of the server. Seems like Wu Qian was waiting for this exact moment, as his plan succeeded. He tells that he has to go to work since his wife's company is in trouble, as the product spokesperson they had agreed on had met with an accident. So, he has to help her find a new spokesperson. The person cheerfully tells Wu Qian that it's a very small task and he can get as many actresses as he wants since multiple actresses work under him. He tells that he is not bragging about it, but he can also call upon Tao Menying with just one phone call. Wu Qian tells the person that he has some work to do, so will take a leave as he has to go to East China for a company trip and so he cannot play at the moment. The person is surprised as Wu Qian is also from East China. But Wu Qian takes a leave even when the person tells him to wait for a second. As Wu Qian gets up to leave the gaming cafe, he gets a text from the same player on his phone stating that he got Wu Qian's number by bribing the owner of the private server. He asks Wu Qian to join him at play when he is finished with his business and asks Wu Qian that since they both are in East China, where do they meet? Wu Qian knew about that person and this is all he planned to lure that person for getting the actress to work for him. Wu Qian replies that the person can decide where to meet as he is in a hurry at the moment. Wu Qian praises the other gamers and relieves them of their duties for the day as he receives that the person would be waiting for Wu Qian at the Qingyuan building in the Zhongqing district. Sometime later, we see the Qingyuan building where they both get introduced via their in-game name. The other player is the second son of the Lei family of the Hongfa industry named Lei Cheng, who was 42 years old. He introduces himself as Wu Qian to Lei Cheng. Lei Cheng asks him as to whether he knows anything about him and Wu Qian butters him well. Cheng hooks onto the word reputation as Wu Qian mentioned it in his praises and demands Wu Qian to reveal his family name. Wu Qian tries to calm down the situation, telling that Cheng shouldn't be afraid as he is not there to harm him. The Hongfa Lei family is a top 10 industrial company in the nation as their total assets exceed $60 billion. Lei Xingwei is the 70-year-old chairman in the semi-retired state and the main person in charge is Yu Leiyu. Any major family that comes in contact with Lei Cheng is considered a traitor to Leiyu as Leiyu has always wanted Cheng's life to succeed. Cheng is unmoved and demands Wu Qian reveal which family he is from. Wu Qian tells him to slow down as he is not from any family and it is just fate that he was able to meet him. Cheng thinks that he will have to slowly get Wu Qian to reveal his identity and whether he is sent by Leiyu or not. But seems that he is too young for all this and maybe is a food delivery guy. Cheng wants to know about his wife's problem as Wu Qian has spent so much money on the game but still couldn't even get a spokesperson. Wu Qian tells Cheng not to tease him as he never thought that people would get his spokesperson into an accident. Cheng asks whether this is the reason why he blew so much money in a game to kill people and vent anger on them in the game. Cheng tells Wu Qian not to worry as he swears to help him find a spokesperson and asks about Wu Qian's wife's business. Wu Qian replies that they make cosmetics and it's called Symphony Fashion. Cheng tells that so he is Li Ruobing's man and laughs out, telling that he should have said about it if he was from the Li family and he thought that Wu Qian was from some other family since he was trying to hide it. Wu Qian clears it, telling that he is not considered to be with the Li family as even Shang would be knowing about Ruobing's relationship with her family. Wu Qian suddenly gets a call from Ruobing and when he answers his phone, Ruobing questions him whether he took $10 million to spend on games. Wu Qian tells her that he cannot explain it to her at the moment and tells her that they can increase the bet if she wants and that whoever loses will have to kneel and apologize to the winner. Ruobing tells him that he is just trying to delay the outcome of the bet. Sheng is surprised as to how Wu Qian is talking to Ruobing and asks about it as he is terrified at the outcome of the event of Li Ruobing kneeling to Wu Qian and wonders who Wu Qian is. Wu Qian tries to snug it off, labeling it as couple things and Ruobing being a bit temperamental, and they had a bet which has now gotten even bigger. Sheng understands the matter as he invites Wu Qian to drink some tea, wanting to know about the bet if he doesn't mind telling. Wu Qian tells that someone is trying to mess with his wife's company and he wanted to help her, but Ruobing denies it every time, being protective of him from Ding Rulong. Sheng understands that Ding Rulong got the spokesperson into an accident. Wu Qian adds that Ruobing is afraid that if Ding Rulong discovers about Wu Qian, he would come after Wu Qian and so she is concerned for his safety. Wu Qian tries to put up a good act by asking Sheng whether Wu Qian is a dignified man, knowing that Ding Rulong is trying to get his wife from Wu Qian. Should he act like a coward hiding somewhere? If he cannot even do something, would he even call himself a man? Sheng is taken by Wu Qian's words as he slams the table and agrees that Wu Qian is absolutely right and orders his men to replace the tea with some wine for the manly talk. He tells Wu Qian that Wu Qian is a man and he won't be a coward anymore and tells him to continue. Wu Qian had made a bet where Ruobing had given him full authority over the company's new product launch, and if the press conference goes off without a hitch, then Wu Qian wins the bet, else Ruobing will win the bet. He adds that if he loses the bet, he will have to listen to everything she says to him and will have to restrain himself and live like a small boy. After hearing everything, Shang gets excited and tells that he can easily help him in this case as it's just a spokesperson. He immediately calls someone and we see a girl's phone ringing. She picks up her phone and greets him as her father. We see Shang talking to his daughter, telling her to take a leave from her work and come back to East China as there is a very urgent work for her. He tells her that she has to do a cosmetic brand endorsement and not to be afraid of breaching any agreement as he will pay for all the contracts, and wishes her good luck ending the call. He shows the phone screen with his daughter's contact information and Wu Qian gets shocked. Deep down in Wu Qian's mind, he knows that this was the result he had planned and it went on very smoothly, even though Tao Meniying's contract would be a huge amount. He wanted to tell about Lei Yu's affairs as an exchange to Shang, but since he is a friend now who didn't even hesitate to offend Ding Rulong for standing with Wu Qian's side, he will treat him fairly. Shang tells that they were destined to meet each other and he is just older by a few years, so he can call him Brother Shang from now on. Wu Qian tells that it's alright and they truly were destined to meet each other. Shang is taken aback as Wu Qian labels it as fate. Wu Qian shows his phone and asks Shang to read the text message from the phone, and we see Shang's finger trembling after reading the message. Wu Qian tells him to find the owner of the number and get that person. That person will tell him about the truth of his accident which happened 10 years ago and has made Shang go into a deep mode of shock and fear. Wu Qian tells Shang to hurry up as if he is slow in catching up with the person. The person may flee overseas as the person is Xiang Shengjun. Shang is in deep thought as he had already informed all his men, but it seems that he has to hurry up to catch that person and let him slip away this time. We get to know that 10 years ago on the same night, a pre-planned truck crashed into Shang's car at the junction of the road. Shang tried to react quickly but was of no use as the car flew straight off into a valley and the car soon exploded into flames. Shang was lucky and somehow survived the crash, but his wife died right in front of him from the deadly car crash. Shang was in the ICU for the next 3 months, during which his agent brought him cues related to the car crash. The driver of the truck was Xiang Shengjun, who was the deputy head of the security department of the Manhwa group and also worked for Lei Yu. But, after the accident, he disappeared, and Shang lost direct evidence and could only accept their words. For the past 10 years, Shang pretended to be a stupid, cynical rich kid, waiting for the day when he could find Xiang Shengjun and discover the truth regarding the incident. Shang's subordinate informs him that the identity of the person has been confirmed and the address has been found out, which makes Shang very happy. Shang takes a leave from Wu Qian and tells that he owes Wu Qian a favor for the information, and if he needs any help, Wu Qian can count on him, mentioning Wu Qian as his brother. It has been just 2 days in his new life and Wu Qian has 2 more brothers, namely, Lu Guanian and Lei Chang. But, his work is done and he had to now go get his 20 million with a kneeling apology from Ruobing. He dials Ruobing's number in his phone, but we see that Ruobing is hanging up his calls. She texts him saying that she is in a meeting. Wu Qian tells that wasn't a meeting in the morning and that maybe she is still mad at him for spending $20 million to play a game. But he lets it all go and heads toward home. We see there is a traffic signal and the color is red, indicating vehicles to halt. Multiple cars are at a halt waiting for the signal to turn green. Wu Qian notices a fleet of luxury cars and notices another woman. This concludes the latest chapter, and we will be continuing it from here in the next episode.